Welcome to Invest. We're talking about investing, finance, and professional development. So recording time of 9:21 a.m. on Eastern Time. Ethereum coin trade $2,637, up about 3.38% so far. With respect to overall crypto market, we can see that clearly we have rebounded slightly, or just cut off losses slightly from the overnight surge on the oil price. If you look at the historical chart, basically last 48 hours or 56 hours plus so far, you can see that during the weekend, the oil price surged to a historical high of $130 a barrel, right? And with respect to that, the futures on the equity side, and obviously with respect to the crypto side, we saw a sell-off yesterday, hitting the respective levels that were identified for Ethereum specifically, which is the $2,500, which we levitated at for approximately about 12 hours across the spectrum, but immediately people bought up. As you can see, obviously, from the oil price in this morning, has pulled back, from the $130 per barrel, which is a astronomical number in comparisons to, a couple of months ago. And with respect to the overall war front, I would say that, it has not really progressively improved, obviously drive this direct anti-correlation effects onto oil prices. And I think across a lot of the oil companies, and obviously with respect to companies that need oil, like transportation industries, like the airline industries, even, with respect to some of the frackers on a governmental and a corporate front is getting compressed on a margin perspective. So seems like a lot of companies are still, and the government try to figure out, with Russia being a major supply for oil cut off, how are we going to be able to sustain the demand for oil without like completely butchering our margin, while sustaining the operational cadence and our usage that we have been having, historically, right? So the utilization rates is definitely same, but the supply is mitigated while at the same time demand is higher, drive the price for oil to be surging. So it's like kind of like a chicken with the head cut off type of analogy. Like how do we deal with this right now? What are the plan B can we do? Or are we going to be experiencing more layoffs and, corporate type of, compression? And what I mean by corporate compression is basically when you need to incur more cost, you need to trim fat somewhere else, right? And what I mean by trim fat somewhere else is basically to fire people. And by firing people, it will obviously have a short-term affectation on improving the profitability margin for the business. However, it will triangulate that seismically onto the Fed's mandate, right? The job numbers. And that can have an anti-correlation effect, so rising the interest hikes even further. So that's something to think about. This oil crisis is more than just oil spiking, but it has a negative seismic effect onto a lot of things that touches our livelihood, both on the governmental front and the corporate front, right? So right now we're seeing the oil prices dip back below 130, but it's still high in the hundreds. So we are seeing some conveyance of confidence, but that's not really the case. So let's just dive into the technicals, right? With respect to recording time of approximately 9:30 a.m. on the Eastern Time. We are levitating at the comfortable level, right? The 2625. So we're basically like $10 above it. So right now, this is not a real rebound. This is just an anti-correlation effects from the oil prices. And right now, the 43 out of 70, and congrats to ones that actually bought the dip during this weekend at 2,500, right? That was the level that we identified. We did not expect to hit 2362, obviously because it's a relatively depleted level at a large separation. But right now we're still in a bearish state. We still have a cross section downward, a death cross, right? But we're relatively depleted. So selling back down to 2500 to 2362 would be very logical. Bitcoin's up about 2%. Again, this is not real, right? We're still in the bearish state. It's still in the death cross region with the 46 out of 70. So be mindful of the 37,500 to 34,500. Dogecoin up about 1.54%. 12 cents right now. Anywhere from basically current level to 10 cents is still logical. Cardano's up about 2.72%. Anywhere from basically 85 all the way down to 75 is still logical. Solana is at 86 right now. Right now at the 41 out of 70. Let's just double check if that makes any sense. Yep, it is 41. Just want to double click because sometimes the RSI is kind of delayed. So anywhere from basically 85 to 75 is fair game for us, right? So right now we like basically $1 above it, so it's logical still. XRP is still squeezing. You can see that I have not changed the triangular shape wedge that I'm forming. Still at the 50 out of 70. So we're gonna see more zigzag until we hit an apex. And apex is basically when we squeeze to a very tight motion and then squeeze up from there. So we'll see how that goes from here, right? Polkadot's up about 1.73% at $17 right now at the 50 out of 70. So let's just double click on our side to make sure that we're correct. Yep, 43 out of 70. So anywhere from, again, right, 16 all the way to $14 from here. Algorand's up about 1.78%, 77 cents right now. Anywhere from basically 75 to 69 from here, the 39 of 70. Shiba Inu low 2000s, right? So anywhere from 2100 on to 1400, 900 would be logical, right? MagTax up about 4%, 142 to 120. So we're basically about 6 cents above it right now. So, but we're still in a negative pattern, right? We're still crossing down. So 142 to 120. AVAX up about 5% right now. This is a clear head and shoulder pattern. A mega one too. Head, shoulder, 59 to 50s coming. Luna's up about 5.55%. People are going to probably be chasing in because we saw the mega pump we have had in last couple of days. But we know this is not sustainable. We are at the large separation on the MACD. We have already formed an apex when we were hitting the 97. With a 63 out of 70, so a sell-off is coming. So 62, 52 to 45 from here, right? So in the near term, the oil price is definitely, fluctuating one. But coming up in this week, right? The 10th is the CPI report release. So we'll see how that goes. And then subsequently next week's going to be 15 and 16, the FOMC meeting, right? So those are things that we'll need to be aware of. Those are needle drivers. We'll see how it goes, right? With respect to the war, it seems like we're slowly building like scar tissues, but the oil crisis is still something that we need to figure out. I don't have an answer for you, but with a negative oil dynamics that we see, it can definitely be detrimental to a lot of corporate companies, right? That needs oil, right, for them to sustain their operation, obviously. But it's good for EV companies, right? And obviously all the electric vehicle companies as well, right? So we'll see how that goes. And let me know if you have questions as well. Have a good Monday. Hope you guys all had a great weekend as well. And take care. Bye.